Okay, peace and love, y'all. This is Brother Dooley. It's been a while since I've been on a live. I'm here at Sister Dr. A's location, the Raw Natural Healing Center, and we did a week of cleansing, of purifying the body with different herbs, bitters, um, duck flour, used oil and lime to cleanse out the liver and the gallbladder. We did psyllium husk and bentonite clay. So it was an amazing experience and met a lot of amazing people here. But I know that some people that follow me sometimes hear me talk about some of these things that we call psychic surgeries. So usually those are sessions where I'm sitting with people one on one, and usually using a sacrament, usually a bufo or even sometimes shunga. And in those cases, sitting down, connecting with people's spirit guides, their family members that might have crossed over, or even protectors, on the other side. So I have my good friend here, Tanisha, who sat down and received a healing, and I felt her healing was amazing, and wanted to see if she could share with the family out there on her experience. So I'm gonna pass it on to her and let her speak to y'all.
Greetings, greetings, blessed love. Give thanks for this moment. Give thanks for being here. Give thanks for the Creator finding it necessary for me to meet you, Dooley, because you have been instrumental in this healing journey, and this week has been transformational. It has been amazing. Um, I've been on my healing journey for a while now, and each time I get to the next level, it's always just so amazing. And I feel like you helped me to get to that next level that I have never experienced before. So I give thanks for the work that you do.
Thank you.
You are truly blessed, and I pray that you continue to do and serve so effortlessly.
Thank
I
you.
know it must not be easy, but I, from my heart, give thanks to you.
Thank you, sis.
Yes, so my first time ever experiencing UFO.
Yep.
And I I haven't been really familiar, just kind of glimpsed it, heard it in passing, but never something that I ever wanted to explore or ever felt called or connected to. But in this week's journey, I felt like everything that I needed was going to be here, and so I
Mm,
was willing to experience everything that I was that I was exposed to.
right.
And so you being here was just the icing on the cake. And when you administered it to me, it the first thing I felt was this bright light. Like,
Mm,
I felt the brightest light I've ever seen just come
mm,
all around me, and the whole room lit up,
mm,
and I just felt this freeness and this elevation of my spirit that was just like, get me out of here, I want to be free. And it
mm,
almost felt like it just came out of my body and it joined the light and it was connected in the light, and as I close my eyes I almost can see the light coming back.
mm,
um, and then during that I just felt so free. I didn't feel anything. It was just such a blissful state, and I was just out of this world.
mm,
I would
mm,
say
mm,
definitely in that moment, and it felt amazing. It was nothing like I've ever experienced before.
mm,
It was peaceful, it was kind, it was loving, it was abundant, it was just everything that it needed to be.
mm, mm,
And then I felt my grandmother's spirit come, and she's like, I'm here, and finally we can get to contact you. And then,
And this is your grandmother who passed away.
yes, she
Okay.
passed away in 2020
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 5 years. She was in the room, she was in the light actually.
Interesting.
She was just in the light.
Mm-hmm.
My father's mother was also there, but she was so quiet and she was just kind of like hovering over in the light as well. But my mom's mom, which is the most recent one that passed, she was really, her presence was really strong. And I just remember physically put, I don't know, but I remember physically putting my hand on my womb because I have fibroids for since I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And that's another reason why I've been trying to holistically heal, just by food, being raw, doing all of the right steps, taking herbs, um, calming my mind, just finding peace from within, balancing my physical being. And I've been doing this for quite a while.
Right.
So the results haven't been that drastic because
Right.
I still do my follow up checkups.
Right.
And so every time I'm doing the follow up checkups, everything is beautiful, but they're still there and they're still growing. Each year, they're still growing. And it's baffling me how, when I have eliminated all the toxins, I have been raw for almost 2 years. I've been doing all of the work. Why isn't this leaving me? And so I was struggling with that, but again, not letting it consume me, just knowing that I feel like I'm on the right path. So I'm gonna keep doing the work. And
Right.
I'm not gonna give up, and I'm not gonna feel defeated. I love the results that I'm seeing in my physical, but the internal one is still kind of stuck.
Right.
And so when I had this experience, I put my hand just kind of led to my womb, and I could almost feel the pulsation in the fibroids in my womb during the time. And I just remember my grandmother saying, "Give it to me. I'm here to take it from you. I'm here to take it from you. Give it to me. Give it to me." And I just remember like crying, like, "What are you gonna do with it?" Like I remember having this idea, like, why do I don't want to give it to you? And then she was just like, give it to me, I can take it, I can take it. You don't need this anymore. I'm gonna bless your womb. I'm gonna rebirth
Right.
your room. So give it to me, give it to me. And it was just, you were doing your administration of your energetical surgery, is that what you call it? Spiritual surgery. And I felt you were using some type of sound vibration on me, and as you were doing that, I felt my fibroids just shrinking down, moving. As I was touching it, I could feel it moving. I could feel it small. I could feel my grandmother trying to say, "Give it to me, give it to me,"
Yes.
and I was just in my state trying to say, okay, I have to release this, I have to let this go, I don't need this anymore. And so it was just so powerful, and it was painful a bit at
Yeah.
times when it was moving. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this hurts,
Yeah.
this hurts,
Yeah.
this hurts, but I gotta let it go, I gotta let it go. She wants to take it, it's time. And it was almost like the fibroid moved from my right side all the way down, almost into my birth canal. And it was just like this energy. My grandmother just kind of sucked it up and just went off into the light with it. And that's what I felt. And I felt like I had this brand new uterus that was so peaceful. It was so beautiful. And I remember tears
Yeah.
started to flow. And I was
Yeah.
just like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful
Yeah.
because I felt the shift. I felt the release. I felt the difference. And I was just like, I was crying. I was laughing. I was, I was happy. I was
It,
just like,
it's so interesting. I would like to comment on what you just said because when these first of all, some of these Amazonian medicines, some of these shamanic medicines, they amplify. Like, so say for instance, someone is already doing healing work already, right? They could be doing Reiki or Qigong or different modalities. When you take these medicines, it amplifies your energy already. So if you're cultivating the energy already and you partake in these sacraments, it amplifies the energy out of your hands tenfold, right?
wow.
Plus, there's the connection of the veil being broken between the physical and the spiritual world.
Right.
So you didn't even tell me about when our healing was happening. she didn't even tell me about her grandmothers, but I felt them, come over me. So when I'm working with people, sometimes their guides or their ancestors or their spirit protectors will go through me and start working through me. They'll tell me certain ways to place my hand on a person, or certain songs that might even come out of me. But it was such an amazing experience because I could feel your fibroids shrinking in real time.
I felt it too in
And
real time.
and
I felt it moving. I
yep,
felt it
yep,
shrinking.
and
And I still
it
feel them. They're like so
yo
small. And they were like, I'm telling you.
yo and Tanisha was like, they're shrinking, and I'm like with her. I'm like, yeah, I feel them shrinking as well. So sometimes when I tell people about these things, and I might be on social media and just be happy to share with folk to let people know these type of things really do exist and happen. Sometimes people don't believe it. They're like, oh, how can somebody that has a tumor or a cancer and have it shrink, just in a matter of minutes or whatever. So I'm gonna start documenting people because I don't want people to take my word for it. I was like, oh, well, if y'all don't believe it, like, you could hear it from the horse's mouth. You could hear it from the people that experience these things
Right,
themselves, and I let them tell you.
right.
So, and it was interesting because when you said the pain happened first at a certain time, that's what happened with Ralph. He had a shoulder injury and something with his leg, and it was before the pain started leaving him. It was this intense pain, and he was like, "Ow, ow!" And then, but I'm gonna interview him and let him say it. But there's a common theme of these things kind of happening, even a little pain before the whole thing leaves. But that's amazing.
Yes, it was amazing. It was, and even afterwards, I keep feeling. I'm like, I cannot believe this thing is so small. Like, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for this experience because, like I said, I've been doing the physical work.
Right, right,
But
right,
and what I would like to add is that the energy part in our body sometimes is what's stagnant, and I feel
right,
like these fibroids are more energetically connected to the
right,
blockages within me. So
right,
it was like all that I'm doing is great for my physical
right,
body,
right,
but for my spiritual
right,
side of me,
right,
my energetic side of
right.
me, I needed this
Yeah,
spiritual surgery to help break through that. And
it,
that's what was the
yeah,
difference in
yeah.
me.
I mean, there's what I learned even doing this work myself with people. It you have to cover all the bases. So, like me, even doing the bitters and even doing the oil, drinking the olive oil with the lime and stuff. I was so surprised to see what was coming out of my body. And it just was a reminder that, yeah, even though I'm able to tap in to the spirit world and even do things for other people, we still have to work on this vessel,
Yes.
have to eat healthy, all these things, because it's just gonna make us better, right?
Yes, yes.
But what I realized that, like, and you even spoke upon this when you were showing us a modality
Yes.
of healing, is that a lot of it boils down to blockage, you
Yes.
know, and these blockages could be psychological, they could be emotional, they could be spiritual, and these are just different tools. You know what I
Yes,
mean? They're
yes,
just there's
yes,
just another tool,
yes.
and I think that I want to highlight these things more because especially more people of color need to know that these things exist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And sometimes with a lot of organized religion, um, sometimes people might get scared of these things. When they say, when you hear things like, oh, spirit world or contacting your ancestors or whatever, automatically sometimes something might go turn off in their head to say, oh, you're doing something wrong. Like there was one woman that came the first day, and unfortunately, I'm not judging her or anything, but she, as soon as we started talking about the spirit world or anything of even contacting our ancestors, she didn't show up. Next day, she was gone. So, but, and that's okay too. It's not everything is for everyone. Like sometimes people might have to grow in certain other ways until they might be ready for such an experience. But do you think that real quick, do you think that like bufo or some of these other medicines that these things can benefit our people, or you know,
I mean, I think our people are naturally connected
mm-hmm.
to the spiritual realm,
Yeah,
and I think that we have the wisdom within, and we have forgotten it.
okay,
And I think that once we realize that all of these things that exist, we already had access to it.
okay,
Um, I just wish that we can be more like seeking wisdom instead of seeking information. I think that the
mm,
world is putting out information,
that's very well
and
said.
I
Yeah,
think the information that's being, the subliminal messages that's being sent is really confusing, it's really erratic, it's really chaotic, and a lot of people are, they're searching for knowledge, but they should be searching for wisdom,
that's well
and
said.
wisdom come from within.
Yep.
And even our own people, they're caught up in a system that is just spitting out whatever they want you to think and whatever they want you to feel,
Right.
and feel sorry for these people and feel sorry for that person and feel sorry for this, and can you imagine this is happening, and it's like, you have to focus on yourself
Say
and
that
figure,
again.
scan your own bodies, go
Scan.
inside within
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
figure out yourself
Yeah.
and listen to yourself.
Right.
And that guiding force that lives within all of us, our God that
Mm-hmm.
lives within all of us, will give us the access and the information. And
Say
there's
that again.
nothing scary, there is nothing fearful. It's just love and abundance that
Right.
lives there, and wisdom and
Mm-hmm.
information. Everything you need is already within. And it's just like this, people are just, the masses are really kind of just not going within.
Right. It's
And
the
that's
old.
where I
It's
think
the
it
old
is.
saying that I would hear: "Know thyself."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
know thyself, then you can know others.
That's right. Well, thank you for taking
Give
time
thanks, blessed
to
love.
share your experience. And is
Yes.
there a way to people to contact you if they want to learn more about the things that you do and offer to your community
Oh,
and
they'll
stuff like that?
find me. They're led to me. I'm not on any social
Okay,
media. I
gotcha.
don't. Yeah. So word of mouth and people. Oh, okay, I know this person. So
That's right. All
they
right.
they'll
Well,
be led to me
that's right.
divinely as the Creator will allow.
Right. Thank
Give
you again.
thanks. No.
So I'm gonna talk to Ralph. He was a brother that sat with the Bufo as well, and I'm gonna talk to him and see what he has to say. Hey Ralph, I'm on live. I didn't know if you could share your experience, if that's possible. You know, do you want to sit here or do you want to go over there? Or yeah, right here. Okay. So again, I'm sharing a little testimonies with people about sacred medicine. And in this case, Ralph is another person that experienced Bufo, what we call toad medicine, for the first time. Bufo is a medicine that it has the chemical compound 5-MeO-DMT. It's a very strong medicine, and you know, we're going. So, Ralph, how you doing, my brother?
I'm fine. How you doing
Yes,
today?
doing good, doing good. So, how was your experience dealing with your psychic surgery?
Um, so basically, I kind of fell into a trance where I was sleeping, but I was more aware of everybody and everything around me, which
Mm,
was very strange.
mm, mm.
Um, I couldn't really explain it because the idea is up to a certain point, it still kind of blows my mind at this point. But I can tell you this, I was aware of everybody around me, and I was aware of every sound, every person moving. It just made your heightened your senses. Now, when the medicine man Dooley, he began to shake different rattles or things like that were making noises. Um, Different areas of affliction began to hurt and to ache. Um, I know because I'm in the medical field that certain aspects of physiology. Um, I can tell you that with my back, my Achilles tendon started to vibrate
Mm.
and started to ache.
Mm.
Now, I didn't tell him anything about my Achilles tendon, but my legs started to hurt.
Mm.
And it felt like, I don't know how to put this, it felt like fingers coming off of your legs. Uh, it was like something was lifting off of my leg.
Mm.
The pain was very sharp.
Mm.
Um, and then it dissipated and floated like it just floated away
Mm-hmm.
and disappeared. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a mode of comfort, but then all of a sudden, my stomach started hurting. Now I have an implant in my stomach, and I have a lot of issues and stuff like that with synovial fluid going into my stomach and causing indigestion and causing problems with digestion as well. I didn't tell everybody about that, but I felt the same thing in that area. Um, the same thing is like something floated out of me. I felt it floating out of my stomach, and I was aghast. I was surprised. I was shocked. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't believe that. And then all of a sudden, that stopped hurting. Now I have old injuries in both shoulders. Both of my shoulders at a young age were dislocated. I took Taekwondo, and from one injury, a flying kick, I landed on my shoulder, and my shoulder was dislocated. Now, my teacher, however wrong this may be, he replaced my shoulder. But I had terrible problems from that point on. My shoulder would slip out, and I had to try to put it back in. And then I had that problem also with this one because I also did the same thing, but this was another teacher and he put it back in.
Mm.
Um, Now, as I got older, those problems got worse where when I'm sleeping, my hands go numb, my arm goes numb. I wake up from pain.
Mm.
Okay? I didn't tell him about that either. This shoulder not as bad, but this shoulder is worse
Mm-hmm.
now that I've gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell him about that as well. All of a sudden, it started aching. Um, Again, the fingers, well, it was an incredible ache that hurt terribly. And actually, this hurt me more than any of the others.
Mm.
And when he started shaking, rattle, and stuff like that, I felt it pulling, like I felt a pulling and like a closing, but a pulling. And that when that subsided, something started shooting out of my hand again.
Mm.
And then my hands, which I have injuries in my hands from martial arts and boxing, uh, I have arthritic pain. And through my fingers, there was a feeling of, well, it was the same thing,
Mm.
pretty much the same thing. It floated away.
Mm.
So I was aghast because at the end, I was looking at him and I was asking, wow, what happened? How did how did you do that? And at this point, I can't explain it, but it works
Mm.
because I don't have any pain in those areas except for this shoulder
Right.
still because it's really bad.
Right. And we didn't go in so deep as
Yeah.
well. That was, I'm going to add on to what you're saying. That was a shorter session
Hmm.
that we did. Um, when I work with people, sometimes an average session is maybe an hour or hour and a half
Hmm.
doing deep work with people. With you, we did about maybe a half an hour, tops. And what's so interesting again, like Tanisha's session, same kind of thing she was saying in her interview, was saying that she felt some pain too before there was this release.
Right.
So we're talking about frequency medicine. There's different teachers that I learned from on the other side,
Right.
or what we call in the spirit world. And I remember I encountered basically these star beings, and what these particular extraterrestrials were teaching me
Hmm.
was that how they approach health and healing is through frequency, light and frequency sound.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so when you seen me using the rattle, there's what
I
I've been.
didn't see you.
Yeah,
I
well,
heard
you
it.
heard me. Well, you was in
Yeah.
that. You was in that state because I gave you the bufo. But
Yeah.
when you was hearing, when I was using the rattle, I've been learning on the other side certain frequencies, and it's. I know it sounds strange, but these instruments are like technology. So it's like as I'm doing a certain vibration with the rattle, I could literally see like light coming from the rattle going in certain parts of your body.
Yeah, like my
Actually,
head as
yeah,
well, and also
yeah.
my knee and
Okay,
my
let me
ankle.
turn it back
My
around to you.
knee and my ankle also had injuries. If you can take a picture of that,
Yeah,
but I didn't tell him about that.
yeah,
That it was arthroscopic surgery to repair my patella
right,
and also my tendon, which was sliced.
right.
And I didn't tell him about that. I also have another area. This is my ankle.
Okay, wow.
It
Okay, I
has
see the
steel
scar
in
there.
it,
That got still in that. Wow.
and I didn't tell him about that. And both areas did the same thing when he started shaking the rattle, except they weren't extensively in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the session, I've also have, as I told you, that I have an implant, which is going to my stomach. Well, the reason why I have that implant is because I had an aneurysm,
Mm.
and Minister Manduli, he basically, uh, I felt deep pain in the center of my forehead,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, fingers started. Like, it was like something was rising up out of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and then my eyes opened,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then I was awake, and
Mm-hmm.
I was aware of everything and all that, and that's why I was so shocked because a few seconds ago I was sleeping, and like it's like it was a dream.
Right.
So
Right, because I do remember when you were saying that, when you was kind of coming down from the medicine, you was like, "What was that? Where?" And it's interesting. It's and I like sharing these videos and sharing people's experiences and stuff because what we talk about the future medicine men and women, the future generation of healers, and by sharing we can people that want to do this type of work they could say wow when I was doing this experience with the medicine I had that too or whatever. So I think it's very important for people to share. So I chase the pain, Ralph. So it's the level, like the biggest thing I've learned about psychic surgery is that there is the art of listening. It's like you have to listen to the most subtlest thing. So, and that gets you in a place of being in tune with the other person or the client that you're working with. And I chase the pain. So if I'm most of the times when I'm working with somebody, it's my eyes that are closed. So it's not me over analyzing or trying to figure out. Most of the time I don't even ask a person what's wrong with them. You know what I mean? Most of the time duly gets out the way, I become a channel for whatever guides, spirits, angels, what have you, that work with that person. And usually, the most of the time, those intelligence, those divine intelligence that's with the client work with me. So they sometimes they come into me and they I channel those intelligence. Sometimes I have my own spirit team that walk with me, and I don't always have the same spirit team. Some like maybe one year. I remember one year, it was this old Peruvian lady. Man, she would come, and she would when I would be in trance. A lot of times she would come in a lot of these people's sessions, and my voice would change because a lot of times, sometimes the songs would come through. So I would see her in my mind's eye, and when she would come through, it would be this high pitch type of song that would come through, you know. But then, she was with me for a little while, and then she left, and then new teachers and new spirit guides would come and show me different new things and stuff. But the most effective sessions is when my total my overanalyzation or me thinking what needs to come to this session, when I move that out the way and say, hey, duly get out the way, just become a channel for what needs to come through for that person. Those, I find, those are the most effective, most powerful sessions with people. And it's the sensitivity, Ralph. So when I'm going over certain parts of your body, it's like this magnetic pull that I feel. And if the pull is more heavier, it's like, okay, this is where this needs to kind of release. Because even though you might have had your eyes closed and stuff, after I finished working with the rattle, that's when I picked up my other tools. I had a selenite sword, and selenite is a great, great crystal. I used a big selenite piece and this selenite sword, and then I started again. They told me start using that with you,
Yeah.
and that's when I was literally feeling things being pulled out of you. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing work, man. But yeah.
I
Anything
didn't
else?
see these swords.
Yeah, you was somewhere else when I was doing that. Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I was with everybody else except for you. It's like you were just like there. All I know is you were there, you know? And I could hear your voice. I heard you singing, but I didn't, I wasn't, like, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
It's like when you touch my knee too, or you touch my ankle. I was like, oh, I didn't tell him about that. I'm thinking in my mind, right? And then all of a sudden, that same thing, the aching happened, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But this was faster because I guess it's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to definitely do another session so we could I could work on that other shoulder.
Yeah.
But this is exciting because again, it lets me know that spontaneous healing can happen. You know, the first time that happened was so many years ago. I worked with a lady in California, and she had breast cancer, and she had this big tumor on her. What was it? Yeah, it was her left side of her neck,
Mm-hmm.
and the tumor was like a big old. It was like a big old thing coming out of her neck, and I remember during that time, I wasn't working with Bufo. I was working with Shanga, which is more of like what we called smokable ayahuasca. And I was smoking it, and I went into the trance, and there was certain ways they wanted me to hold my finger and project the energy or the life force into her neck. And I'm watching in real time her her neck turn to normal. I'm watching the tumor dissolve away. So, and then I started working on the cancer in her breast, and I'm feeling sometimes in the spirit world it could look like those who are into comic books like Marvel, like Ant-Man,
Yeah.
like it was like
Yeah.
my consciousness was like had a big like microscope, and I'm able to go into the person's body and see what's going on internally in their body in real time.
Right.
So it's like I'm watching the cancer dissolve
Yeah.
before my eyes, Ralph.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that time my energy was starting to tire. So I sometimes I can't do it all in one session, especially if somebody has a very, very serious ailment or whatever, and I might have to come back for 2 or 3 sessions. But I'm seeing the cancer, disappearing, right? But the real first time was a lady, sister, a good friend of mine, who had these lumps on her feet, and these lumps were bothering her. They one was about this size, the other was a little smaller on the other foot, and she had this on her feet for 10 years. I didn't even know this, right? She told me all this when the session was over. During that time, I worked with the mushroom. I did a microdose with the psilocybin mushroom, went into trance, I'm working on the foot. I'm feeling the lumps dissolve until it's gone. It was gone, Ralph.
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh my God, it's gone, Dooley." I was like, "Okay, may see the other foot. Let's work on that one."
Yeah.
That one was dissolving, dissolving until again I ran out of energy. And then at that moment, I was feeling the negative disease go into me. So I'm because at that point I was tired and I was pulling it out, but it was going into me. So she could see my discomfort, and she's like, "Dooley, you might want to stop. We don't have to do it all tonight. Let's figure out another time." But I learned a lot since that time,
So you're
and
exhausted at the end of these sessions?
sometimes I can be. Sometimes I'm invigorated. Like it kind of what I'm seeing again. The more the more I get out the way and the more I don't use my own personal chi or my own personal life force,
Right.
the more I'm after a session I'm not as drained. But if I'm kind of working overtime and that I have that connection, but then the trance within myself is coming down and I'm still trying to work on that person overtime where I call, then sometimes I could feel drained afterwards. You know what I mean?
Right.
I come sometimes feel drained sometimes when I'm dealing with what even we call like exorcisms as well. Like sometimes I'm dealing with sessions where it can be psychologically challenging for a person, or they might have picked up some, you know, energetic parasite through trauma or whatever. The worst case I did is a woman was kidnapped and she was held in this place I think for 3 days, and these men were raping her over a 3 day period, and she sat with me, and that was one of the most challenging, and I had a lot of very deep exorcism type of sessions, but that was really I almost worked with her 2 hours, you know, and the things that I had to pull out of her was crazy. They were even at one point trying to infiltrate and get in my mind and even say telepathically, well, she's not your family. She's no one to you. Why are you taking so much effort to work with her? Just give up. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff. It was crazy. So these sessions could be very interesting, you know. But do you have anything last to say, or do you feel that this is something that could be beneficial to people, like even our?
I definitely do. It's a rewarding experience, and it can change your perspective of this type of medicine. I recommend it, and that's it.
Yeah,
Pretty much, it's
and
it's
and
something that
how
works.
and how has it been your experience all week? We're here at Dr. A's Raw Natural Healing Center,
Um,
and it's been she put us through all kinds of cleanses, and I just want to say to you, Ralph, that I'm proud of you. We were all proud of you sticking in and like because some of the medicines weren't so easy, you know.
they weren't.
You want to speak on that briefly?
It was
Yeah.
definitely a challenge. The duck was definitely
The
a
duck
challenge.
flower?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, just the straight up bitters and the colonics all together.
So you had a
Colon
colonic,
cleanse.
a colon cleanse.
Yeah.
You had some bitters that
Yes.
you had you drinking. She had you
Yeah.
drinking olive oil and
Olive oil.
lime.
Yeah.
Wow. Did a lot of stuff come out of you?
Well, the olive oil and lime had me completely dissipated, but I was completely out of it for I think 5 hours,
Wow.
4 or 5 hours,
With
and
the
then
olive oil and lime.
right,
Okay.
and then after I came out of it, I woke up early and I had a whole bunch of energy.
Wow.
Um, I experienced a feeling of cleanliness and greatness and everything like that. I actually felt like I could do something.
Okay.
I could go
Okay.
off and I don't know. I was thinking. I think I said to. I felt like reading. I felt like reading a book or reading or doing something like that.
That's
It's
what's up.
definitely mind clearing. And then the idea that the duck flower.
He had this. He had.
That
He
was
had. To, he
smooth.
had to say.
Yeah.
He had to say, huh. He had to say, huh.
I'm gonna tell you this. I would tell you this. It was difficult. It was one of the most difficult things I've done. And I've had 3 brain surgeries,
Wow.
so
Wow.
it's one of the most difficult things I've done. And I got through it. And when I got through it, she's right. It is rewarding. Dr. A teaches us that it's a rewarding feeling
Right.
at the end of it.
Right.
So it's worth the walk.
Okay.
It's worth
Okay.
the pain.
Okay.
There's a little bit, but guess what? Once you get there, it's worth it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ralph, for your time. I appreciate it. I know the family out there that's listening appreciate it. And thank you for your testimony. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Yes. I'm going to end with Miss Dr. A, if that's okay. If you could give your information and a shout out to the people. Dr. A, how can people reach you if they want to take some of your classes, do some cleanses with you, learn about some of the things that you offer, retreats or anything like that?
Absolutely. Okay, well, I'm at rahealing.com.
Okay. And
That's how
then,
you reach me.
all
Go
right.
to the website. You can find the information on the retreats, the upcoming retreats that are coming. We plan on doing them monthly, once a month,
Okay.
short retreats, not like this,
That
the
was long. It
seven
was, yeah,
day
woo.
shut down.
Friday, Saturday,
Yes,
and
that
No,
was
Sunday.
this was
something.
so long. It was very powerful, but this is something we do more like maybe quarterly, but
Okay.
we'll do something more monthly as far as the shorter retreats that we can stop, reset, and continue on your own kind of thing. We show you how to do this. This one was actually a certification
Oh,
retreat
okay.
where we're actually getting a certificate,
Okay.
because once you have the cleaning reaction in yourself, then now you know how to actually work with somebody.
Okay.
We have to go
Okay.
through the fire to get through the other end, and
Okay.
everybody went there.
Okay.
Everybody achieved that kind of. You have to feel it. You have to go through it. You got to know what it is,
Makes
right?
sense.
In order to say, okay, I know what it is. Otherwise, man, you don't know.
Right.
You don't know. I did it. I did the first one I did. I OD'd on it, as far as the doc is
The
concerned.
duck flower. Yeah.
And that doc kicked my butt. And we
Yeah.
done. I punted it. When we watched that video, it was 5 ducks that we did. It wasn't one. It wasn't two. It was 5.
Hold on. You did
It was
5?
5. So we were
Wow.
down for the count.
Woo.
But it pulled all that mucus out. It pulled, mucus released out.
Right.
This time, communing with everybody, when you take that bufo, bufo was
That was the highlight of
I
this
love
retreat.
the
It's
bufo because the
a beautiful
bufo,
medicine.
even though you do the medicine, the bufo opens your spiritual into it was an accelerated awakening. Once you're already awoken, and you go through the bufo, it takes you to another higher heights. It's
Mm.
almost in the fifth dimensional
Mm.
vibration,
Mm.
more like the tenth dimensional
Mm-hmm.
vibration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we done the meditation with Raul Naffer this morning, which he took us in the Osarian meditation, which
Mm-hmm.
I used both of them together. That took us into another like enlightenment kind of thing to say, okay, this freeing is safe
Right.
every single day of your life,
Right.
And so the practice is to meditate with your healing, because healing is in the spirit.
Right.
It's you have to feel it in your spirit. You got to feel peace. You got to feel love for self
Mm.
before you can get your healing. So
Say
self
that
healing.
again.
That's why we call it self healing.
Say
You got to
that
have
again.
that self love to take you to the next level of healing.
Very wise.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. A.
Welcome, my love.
Jahari, would you like to give people your information? This woman right here made the bomb cheesecake. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about real cheese. We're talking about a plant-based raw food cheesecake. How can they get in contact with you on being able to buy your cheesecakes? may be supporting you in the things that you cook that you prepare and eating better and things like that, how can folk get in contact with
I live right outside of Baltimore, Maryland,
you? Mm-hmm.
and I have a part-time cafe on Wednesdays. It's called J&J Cafe, but
J&J Cafe.
it's
Okay.
run by my business that we just started, Inner Chi Alchemy.
And then Cheek Alchemy.
Now
Okay.
on Facebook, I have Raw Soul, like soul, licious.
Okay.
And my number is 410-908-0786.
Thank you.
And may I tell you about my
Yes, please.
experience?
Please. Yes.
I did the kidney flush with the olive oil years ago. I did it twice. I've done it twice.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I had a lot of kidney stones come out, and I didn't really believe I had cognitive dissonance. I did not believe that they were kidney stones.
Mm.
And so one of my friends did it and took them out of the toilet and took them to the doctor, and she said that they're green, and mine were like neon grapes, but really small.
Right.
And so I've been on.
And they were hard. They were hard like stones. These
Well,
things that came out
I
of you.
didn't touch them
You
to
didn't touch
see
it?
how hard they were,
Okay.
but
Interesting.
my diet's been pretty good for the most part. It's been very good. I
Okay.
mean, I've been what I call cheating every once in a while,
Right.
but I'm basically plant-based.
Right.
So I just knew that I was clean. I just knew that I didn't have any gallstones because I thought that those gallstones were from my childhood when my father, a physician, a surgeon, brought us up on the SAD diet.
Okay. Standard American diet.
Yes,
Sad diet. Yeah.
SAD, it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
And so this time, when we did that with all the bitters and the colon flush
Mucoid
pills,
flat flush.
How do you say it, Doctor?
Mucoid flat flush with the psyllium and the bentonite and the herbs.
oh yes,
The
that
bentonite clay and
Right.
the
Psyllium.
psyllium
psyllium
husk.
husk,
Okay. Yeah.
that and and then I mean I was evacuating a lot of things, and I was seeing these little flukes, what Dr. A calls flukes.
Little tapeworms.
No, flukes. They're
Flukes.
orange.
Are those worms as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Parasites.
I
Parasites.
saw
Wow.
them, and I saw some eggs, and
Oh
I
my
was
God. You seen all
grossed
that and
out
that came out of
at
you.
first.
Woo.
But wait a minute, that was nothing until after. Well, during my colonic irrigation, I saw some huge gallstones come. Some of them were huge, some were smaller, but they were huge. And then some stuff that Dr. A calls inflammation and some mucus. I
That's what
mean,
was
I
coming out of
was
me. Yeah.
clogged. And for a month before, I had been taking wormwood and black walnut husks.
You can see
Oh,
the stones coming out there.
this is her colonic session. Wow.
That's mine.
So you could see for the people watching, this is Dr. A does colonics as well. She does hydrotherapy, and these are the stones coming out of her through the tube right there. You could see.
Let's back up right
Back
back
it
to
up.
to the beginning. That's where I caught it.
Okay, let's
Okay.
see.
See how
Whoa!
big they are?
Whoa! Wow! Wow! Oh my God!
And I've been vegetarian since I was
Wow!
like 12.
That's crazy.
They're all stones.
All
These are
stones.
small ones.
Wow!
I caught it at the beginning. Yeah.
Whew!
So, yeah,
Man.
after that, that evening, a couple of hours later, what came out of me, that's me again?
They're the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she had a lot more before we even started recording her.
Mm. And so people could come to you and get a colonic.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hydrotherapy.
Hydrotherapy.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. There
And
it
don't
is.
think that you don't have them. No,
No, dear.
if I can have them, everybody can. Because I've been a vegetarian since I was about 12.
Mm.
I go in and out of, I mean, I've been a sugar addict
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, cheat every once in a while and all that.
Right.
But I mean, oh, then a couple hours after the hydrotherapy, I think what happened was I was cleared out.
Mm.
And then I had another evacuation.
Wow.
This thing showed so many worms. What
Oh
kind of
my
worms were
God.
they? What did you call
Oh,
them?
well, we had some
The
flutes.
long ones?
The long
Yeah,
ones were more like pins.
pinworms.
Pinworms.
And they were, I mean, it freaked me out. I had no idea. They were way up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They hide and they have intelligence for survival.
Mm.
And so, I mean, that's why when a body, a dead body, when it's just sitting there, the worms appear because they were already there.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you, both of y'all, I'll ask both of you this question. Do you feel that the majority of people that, at least I'll talk about this Western world, are walking around with parasites, worms, and because of that, it was an old movie called The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where it was like these aliens. I don't know if you remember that
I
movie.
remember.
They came in and they would get into your brain and they would take over your mind. So, do you think that's kind of the
Oh,
same thing with these worms and parasites
yes.
that people walking around and we're not really making our own decisions? We're being dictated by these things these parasites that are living
Yes,
off of
I
us.
read in a mainstream newspaper years ago that these parasites affect us to crave sugar. When they want to be fed, they chemically somehow affect us to crave sugar.
So you're telling me these parasites will make a person go to the Dunkin' Donuts and
Ah,
start saying like,
Absolutely.
"Hey, I want some, I want some,
Absolutely.
I want some,
Well,
some
when it
powdered
comes
donuts or
down
whatever."
to it, it's if you feed on anything that is acidic, that's what you're craving, acidic foods. You're craving sugar, you're craving fried foods, you're craving, anything that's gonna hurt you.
Huh.
You got parasites.
and
And it goes back to what does parasites cause in your body? The disturbance of the mind, the
how about
mental,
in your mind?
physical,
Because
spiritual.
if they, yeah, if
It's a parasite attack.
Mm,
You know,
that's deep.
HIV is parasite.
That's deep.
Malaria is parasite.
definitely cancer.
Connected. Cancer is parasite.
Wow.
It's all
So
parasite
all these
connected.
diseases.
It's all parasites.
So when doctors say, "Oh, you have
And then
cancer,"
Inflammation.
they're not telling us that the root of these diseases are these parasites that are causing
No.
these diseases.
Okay, so there's a combination of things, right?
Okay.
First, the parasite wants to feed off of the toxicity that's in your body. That's why we call it a cesspool. They like to live in a cesspool.
That's
So
deep.
if you create a cesspool in your pool, 70 to 80% water in your body, then you are creating a cesspool that those parasites want to live inside of.
Wow.
Right now, when you
Interesting.
detox that poison out your body, meaning, okay, I'm a perfect 7.45, my body's alkaline and I've cleaned it out, whereas it's good and clean, do you think they want to live there anymore?
They don't like that environment
Well, they don't have anything to live
to
on.
feed off of.
They
Yeah.
do. Your
Yeah.
pool is clean, so that's the point of detoxification.
and
Okay.
the way of getting there is
Doing your colon cleanse, mucoid plaque flush, get that out. Do your gallbladder flush. Do the mucoid plaque, the mucus, get the mucus out. Do the parasite flushing.
Mm.
The colonic is major because, a lot of people, they shun against the colonic thinking that, oh, it's one way in, one way out. And a lot of our healers feel that way too, but it's like when you start to do the colonic work, it is next level. What comes out your body that you think is out. When you see it crawling through that machine,
I could
Yes.
testify.
Right.
Can I share what my colon? I haven't had a colon cleanse, a colonic in a long time, and when Dr. A gave me a colonic, it was a lot of inflammation, a lot of water retention,
water
all
retention.
this coming out of me, and even though I seen you seen a fluke too come out of
Yep,
me as
yep.
well, and so and that was a lot that came to my diet of the breads, the bagels, the dagon. I like a lot of the pasta and all that. So if we care about ourselves, we're gonna have to be a little more disciplined
So
because
so
yeah,
so now when you right, so when you're trying to detox your body, it's you have to stop eating the things that are cooked.
right,
Period. You got to go raw food.
right,
Because raw food, you're talking. Okay, when I say um, God created us as alkaline people, right?
yes, I remember you
What
said
is
that.
the pH of your blood when you're born?
You said
Seven.
7.45, right?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Ah, I passed the test.
what
This
are
way.
the foods that are alkaline? Your fruits and veggies
Yes.
are alkaline. So that's kind of a clue,
Okay.
right? That's clue number one. Well, maybe I should be eating alkaline food. My question to God was, well, when you look at the digestive system and you see that 35-foot long colon, 25 intestinal tract, the small intestinal tract, and it's all stretched out all over the place.
Hold on.
Well,
Say
how
that
did that
again.
happen?
You said our colon
The
is
small,
35 feet
right,
long.
of the whole system.
It's 35
The
feet. Wow,
large is
that's
10 foot.
10
The
foot.
small is 25 foot.
Oh,
When
wow.
you see it all stretched out, and then you see a baby's in a nice little sack, right?
Right.
All coiled up. My question to God was, well, God, why did you make it so down long? Like, what's the point, right?
Right.
God said, well, daughter, if you ate the food that you should be eating, then it will just pass through your body after you eat it within an hour without it being stuck in there.
Gotcha.
Dig it?
Gotcha.
So now it's like, okay, so that means raw food that's not even cooked. It means fruits and veggies that are not cooked.
Right.
Because when you cook the fruit and veggie, it
Over
removes the protein.
116 degrees.
It removes the protein.
It removes the
Heat
protein.
removes the protein.
You
So
said
if
at
you
116 degrees?
Degrees. And
Okay.
it
no more
changes
than
it
116,
chemically
right?
so that it's no longer
Alkaline.
alkaline.
So now it's acidic,
Interesting.
right? So
Interesting.
that's why you have to go raw when you're detoxing.
Okay.
When you're and use your food as your medicine.
Okay.
You know, that's what raw food is. Used for your medicine. So
Food be
yes,
thy
you can
medicine.
eat while you're fasting. Yes, you can eat while you're purging. Yes, you can eat when you're trying to heal your body. But it has to be raw.
Okay.
Meaning cleaning, detoxing, flushing kinds of food that's not going
Cleansing
to hurt you.
foods.
Now, you also talked about in our class the importance of pure water. And you said also how a majority of people out here are dehydrated.